A escort stole my dogs and the cops won't help. So I hunted her down myself. So it all started on Sunday, May 26th. I was flying back home from Texas where I was at my girlfriend's sister's wedding. We had a layover in Vegas before our 1-hour flight back to Sacramento. I land in Vegas and I get reception. That's when my roommates call me and tell me how the door to our backyard gate was busted open and my beautiful husky wolf mix was missing. That dog is everything to me. She is 3 years old now and I've had her since she was 2 months old. She's been with me through all my breakup, my layoffs and my evictions. She was my only friend when all my other friends believed the rumors my ex said about me. Anyways, she is gone, and I get home to start doing the usual, putting up flyers offering a reward and notifying every shelter, vet, and her chip company of her disappearance. I put notices on every lost and found page and suddenly it starts to go viral on Facebook. A lot of people really wanted to help me find my dog, and I had eyes everywhere. I wake up one day to a Craigslist ad with a picture of an unknown girl hugging my dog with the ad titled "Found Husky" sent to me by a friend of mine, so I contact the ad maker. The lady was nice and explained how she didn't find my dog but a friend of hers on IG found her. She watched her post pictures on IG and brag about how the universe brought me this beautiful bitch. She sent me screenshots of her Instagram and all the pictures she posted of my dog. She then tells me I don't know her personally but she is a fellow escort. It turns out the girl who has my dog is an escort. So she messaged the girl to tell her that she found the owner of the dog and she full deletes all posts about my dog and blocks the ad maker. So I think alright, this is already viral, game on bitch. I get all the people who have been searching including my detective aunt and we make a hunt. I file a police report and they are down to bust the chick but I have to find where she is and holding my dog for them to do anything, which is pretty useless. I get people to start contacting one another. We found her legal name, all the addresses she is tied with including her boyfriend, mom, stepdad, possibly dad and stepmom's info. We even found 2 warrants for her arrest. She was charged with petty theft, hit and run involving property damage, lying to a peace officer and possession of contraband. After I found that info including her being an escort, which is illegal where I'm from, we had her. I dug up all her info including emails and phone numbers with her escort phone number. So I call this woman to confront her and she starts yelling at me about how I'm harassing and threatening her. This is the first time I've ever talked to the woman, and how she was going to press charges on me. She then said she brought my dog to a shelter. She also told me which shelter, 2 days prior. I confirmed that wasn't true. Meanwhile, I'm gathering all the proof I have that this dog is mine, which is 3 years of time-stamped photos with me and the dog, and the chip information that my dog is registered with and her being in my name with the chip company. She is told this and still refuses to give her back by saying I'm afraid to give the dog back because the owner is threatening me, which I never did and have proof of that, so now she is on blast on Facebook, Instagram and Reddit as well. I'll provide with more edits later. Update, so I'm not sure what more I can really do. The court fees to even try and get this bitch is gonna break my bank and I already spent over $1,000 trying to find my dog. Then even trying to find and serve her with the court may not work because the cops will only try 3 times before they say welp you're on your own and then I would have to hire a private investigator. I'm not sure what to do besides blast her so goddamn hard this ends up on every news station and radio station in the Sacramento region. Update again, ooh, so check this shit out. The girl that stole my dog was with another girl when they found my dog. And boy does the plot thicken. They are both escorts, so the girl that stole my dog, let's call her Blonde Thief, and the girl she was with we will call her Red-Haired Thief. Blonde Thief left for San Francisco to work. She came back home early to find Red-Haired Thief was sleeping with Blonde-Haired Thief's boyfriend. And it gets better, mate. Red-Haired Thief beat Blonde-Haired Thief's ass, which involved the cops and a public police report. Boyfriend was taken to jail for domestic violence and so did Red-Haired Thief. Now that is public record, I looked up the incident. Sadly there was no house address when I looked it up. I'll keep you updated. Phenol update. The red-haired thief contacted me and told me the blonde-haired thief took my dog to her dad's house. So I went detective and looked up who her dad is. I got his legal name, Facebook and phone number. I get a car with a beefy friend of mine and drive 1 hour to Valley Springs to where her dad lives. We pull up to the property and there is my dog running up to the fence to greet me. I open the gate and she tackles me. I put her in the car and call the cops. They arrive and do their damnedest to get him to answer the door, but the police chalk it up to him not being home. They take my statement and I explain everything down to each fine detail, including the escort in question having a record. They said they will be catching him and I will be pressing charges for animal endangerment and grand theft. She will also be adding a third warrant on her record. So glad it's over. And my dog is so happy to see me again every day. The next day I get a message from my friend. Turns out the thief sent her a message on Instagram about contacting the police over me harassing her. My friend then commented, "You do realize the owner came to your dad's house and took her dog back while the police watched it happen? She told the police she is pressing charges on you and they are coming for you. Enjoy jail." And the thief flipped. She started threatening my friend and saying she's gonna fight her before calling her a like, in all seriousness, hasn't she had her ass beat up enough this week? Doot doot. You slept with my GF? Better watch your back. Cast me friend. Karen Me's GF had a drug addiction but was clean for 2 years, important for later. Jill business owner. Jake old friend, ## whole of the story. I live with my GF Karen and my old grade school friend Jake, who was working as a sales rep. We live on the outskirts of a well-known city in the States. I was in my late 20s. I found myself looking for work as a bar I was working at closed down. Knowing I was desperate for work, Jake calls me and tells me his new GF Jill just purchased a motel/bar with a small kitchen and she is after hired help. Needless to say, I jump at the opportunity as Karen wasn't working, the bills were piling up and out health insurance was due. I called Jill, arranged to meet her at her new property to introduce myself. Jake made the introductions in person and had already told Jill I was hands-on DIY person with hospitality experience. Now to explain, my dad is a Sparky and believes if you can pay someone to fix something, you could probably do it cheaper yourself. He taught me lots and still does to this day. After a 30-minute chat, Jill tested me with a few odd jobs like rewiring an outlet, fixing a clogged sink, and quizzed me on liquor laws. Needless to say, I was hired that day. Originally, work was all about getting the property ready for business. Jill thought it would have been minor works, paint, replacement of fixings and furniture. We soon found out the electrical wires were shot. The whole place needed rewiring, which was a cause of stress for Jill as it would have blown her budget. Lucky for Jill, my dad was between contracts and offered his services using leftover stock, already paid for from other jobs. Jill would need to cover the cost of any new product required. As for labor, his payment, he said he enjoys a steak and beer on Friday nights. After 3 weeks of helping Dad, the wiring was done, was up to code and at a fraction of the cost. Jill and I spent 1 to 2 months painting all 15 motel rooms, bistro, bar, cleaning the kitchen, cool rooms, etc. Jake would offer to help but always left after 20 minutes saying he has to make a sale. Jill often worked well into the night. After all this was her dream. I'd take some furniture home to restore after hours and return it once restored. Business opened up after 6 months, and thanks to Dad, opened under budget. Jill managed the business and ran the kitchen. I worked where I was needed. In the kitchen, on the bar, tending to maintenance. I was on salary, second in charge, and could work in any position. Things went smoothly for a year. Business was turning a profit. Dad was getting his weekly beer and steak. Karen seemed happy. Jake was still working as a sales rep for a pharmaceutical company. One day I felt crook at work, so I clocked off and went home early. Pulling into my driveway, with the exception of a turning gut, things felt normal. Jake's car was there but he lived there, so I didn't think anything was wrong. As usual, I parked behind Jake, important for later. When I opened the door, I found Karen doing the reverse cowgirl with Jake on the couch. After seeing me, Jake grabbed his pants and ran out through the back door. Karen and I argued into the night. She tried blaming me, saying I'm never home, I'm spending too much time with Jill, we were keeping things professional, I was her employee. I went to bed and told her she can sleep in Jake's bed as she clearly finds it more comfortable. I called Jill and informed her of this as Jake was her boyfriend. She was upset as he cheated on her but admitted she suspected he was seeing someone else. Jill offered me a room at the motel until I figure out my next move. The next day I loaded my personal effects in the truck. Jake's car was still there as I had blocked it in. I told Karen she can keep the rental and the furniture. I said Karen the first would be back for my tools in a few hours and I would appreciate if she wasn't there. I went home that afternoon to load my tools into my truck. While I was grabbing something from under my workbench, I found a bag I wasn't familiar with. Upon closer inspection, I found a large quantity little tablets. The way they were packed and hidden made me realize they were probably ecstasy. A thorough search of the house led to me finding 2 more bags and about $12,000 in cash. I put 2 and 2 together and realized that Jake's pharmaceutical sales job was code for drug dealer, and Jake probably traded pills to Karen for sex. I was beyond angry until I realized that I have all I need to get him back, the revenge. Jake's car still hadn't moved. I went inside and grabbed his spare keys, chucked on a pair of gloves that were in the garage. I put half the money and 1 bag of drugs in his boot and thought, hang on, this won't pass. I removed his spare tire from the wheel well and put the bag in there. The other 2 bags, I threw them down the storm drain in the laneway behind my house. As for the $6,000 cash, Jake did cost me a house full of furniture. Just saying. I sent a message to both Jake and Karen with the typical hurt script. I can't believe you did this, we were friends blah blah blah. I've left, I hope you two are happy together. I then made an anonymous tip to the local police and ATF about a man fitting Jake's description, loading what looks like drugs into the boot of a car that sounded Jake's car and provided a partial number plate number that matched Jake's car. It didn't take long for law enforcement to find the car and locate the drugs. What I wasn't counting on is Karen was driving the car at the time. She was later released when they found out she was driving the wrong car at the wrong time. A warrant went out for Jake's arrest. The icing on the cake. I found out later that not only was the police after Jake, his supplier was as well, as he lost a lot of product. Fast forward 3 months, I purchased a house. I was still working with Jill. Karen was pregnant with Jake's baby and he was on the run. I suspected she was keeping contact with Jake because she suddenly left the district when she was 8 months pregnant. 12 months after the incident, after a drunken night, Jill and I mixed business with pleasure and started dating. That was 10 years ago. We are married, have 2 children and just opened our 3rd business. Dad still gets his weekly steak and beer. I did hear a rumor that Jake and Karen wound up in Alaska, but can't confirm this. I do feel a little bad about it now because Jake made it possible for me to date Jill and live a wonderful life.
Hey. I love you. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this audio story. It would mean a lot to me if you could like and subscribe, or better yet, leave a comment about one of the stories. Thanks, and I hope you have a wonderfully fantastic day. XOXO.